successfully stop wiggling, stop wobbling. We successfully rated Goodwill. So if you guys don't want desk wobbles on streams, feel free to spring big in the super chat realm. But I'm pretty happy with it. I like how it looks. I like the height. It's appropriately degenerate. I am in proper streamer style. I'll show you guys. I got a big old bowl of white rice with a little guacamole salsa. Spicy. Avocado guacamole salsa. And yeah. And I got to type this question out. Whoa, sorry again for the shaking, guys. I'm just launching the poll, and given the laws of physics and the whatnot, the shaking should subside in just a second here. Say you'll remember me standing on the white dress underneath the sunset. Hey, red lips and rosy cheeks. My name's Nathan or Duck. This is a politics channel. Talk about scholastic politics, so hopefully bringing a little bit of evidence into it. But yeah, talking about, our own interest, stuff we care about, current events, price of oil. Is Trump doing a good job in the economy? Those types of things. We might ask about, who knows? We might ask about the war in Iran. We can think about the similarities and differences between people and, just things we think are going well or not going that well. So those are all great topics for discussion here, guys. I am finishing up a little bit of dinner, as you guys may be able to see. But yeah, feel free to say what's up in chat. We're an audience-driven channel. I'll give you guys a little peek preview. We just cleaned up. There's no God but God Muhammad, the messenger of God. Hey, thank you. Yeah, peace be upon him, and respectfully, and cool. Yeah. I don't know that you need to. I don't know that you need to do a shahada here, but thank you. What to hear something crazy? Democrats turned Black Americans into GMOs. They bred them for. Yeah. That does sound untrue, right? You can say crazy or whatever word you want, but I would say that's more than likely just not true. But yeah, speaking of truth, this new setup is the truth. I went to Goodwill. I got a little camera stand used at Goodwill. No, this setup, right? Grumpy, the setup is the truth. So I have my books, my small bookshelf back between my thinking man statue and because I only have one of those bookends. So the other bookend is my microwave stand. I got Nikes back there, and you can see a little more Michael Jordan, my Harry Potter book. Yeah. So this setup is the truth, guys. Right? I can swing around from side to side. I'm very excited about it. Yeah. So, I don't know that that's even right. If we're talking about embarrassing things Charlie Kirk said, if we're talking about Charlie Kirk quotes, I also think that we could include Donald Trump's quote and your quote in there, right? And so there's something to be said that if Charlie Kirk was the best political activator, the best political guy, and a random guy in YouTube within the first minute of the stream going live is saying something that sounds like something Charlie Kirk could have said, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about literally if you heard someone wake up a little bit and you heard someone say this out loud? They said, what to hear something crazy? Democrats turned Black Americans into GMOs. They bred them, right? So all wrong for 60 years. It's historically accurate. I sit down when I pee. Somebody's messages got blocked because because I have a wobbly screen. I'm not going to unblock them. So feel free to say what's up in chat if you guys want to. Yeah, you guys can say what's up in chat in a normal way without profanity, without violating TOS or anything like that. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, but yeah, Charlie Kirk paid for insurrectionists from Charlottesville. So literally angry white young men who ran over a girl with their car and brought guns to go chant Jew and Jew phrases and racialized phrases. He paid for them to go to Washington. You don't need to tell me that, Riker. Yeah, Riker, nobody cares. Hey, what's going on, Palestine? Yeah, shout out. If you guys got Palestine in the house, shout out to my Indian friends, Paki friends, Chinese friends, African friends, folks in Central, Eastern Europe. Shout out to my European, Canadian, Australian friends. Shout out Latin America, Chicano, Latinx from Arizona. Que hondas, ve. Yeah, what's up? Would you have a humanoid robotic helper? I don't know what for, right? I live a simple life. I look really fancy. I look like I've got everything going on. I've got an alien green shirt. My alien green shirt makes me look fancy, but this is what I'm eating tonight. It's avocado salsa and white rice and a little white rice, or it was brown rice. It was even brown rice, right? With a little bit of vegan cheese. Very yummy, very simple dish. Yeah, and I'm eating dinner. So I don't know what a humanoid robotic helper would help with. You know, do laundry, stuff like this. I don't mind that stuff. I don't mind waking up a little early and finishing some chores. Algeria, Aintea. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? I don't know what that means, but shout out to you. I know Algeria. So American, says Laughlin. And hello. Do I remember you from last stream? Laughlin, I can't say that I do. Usually people have to subscribe and be here a couple times before I'll remember them, right? It's just something that happens. Yeah. I do try to get to know you guys though, right? We've got we're 1,834 subscribers. So I track demographics. So if you guys talk in chat, I try to get to know you. If you guys don't talk in chat, I let YouTube data tell me who you guys are a little bit. And I try to shape content, live stream topics and stuff around that. We got the real thug life in there. Cool. Thanks for your thoughts. Yeah, thank you, Handle 8701. I'd hope so. Yeah. I don't know why I'm on the internet. If I'm not being thanked for my thoughts, I guess. I don't know. Shout out to you. What's up, guys? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but you know, things we believe in our own little world. Yeah, you know, maybe that's kind of what I interpret. You tell me about humanoid robots, and I'm like, well, look, I've got some weird beliefs. I believe the Chicago Bulls shouldn't have let Michael Jordan retire in '98. They were still winning, right? Weird way to go out. Weird way to go out with the W, and then he comes back later for an inferior team in Washington. That's very strange athlete story arc. Jesus still loves you. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Should that be a bannable offense though? I mean, you're saying the world is some fictitious way toward me, right? I don't tell you, like, I feel like it's very different if I say my avocado salsa and white rice and the vegan cheese is your kind of yummy, right? Like, that's weird. I don't know that you like this. It's Jesus loves you. It's your kind of yummy, bro. It's very, very strange, dude. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Honestly, parents in the chat would be like, keep those Christian weirdos away from kids, from little kids and stuff like that. You would say that to a grown-ass man you've never met. Keep those people away from kids. It's creepy. I've got crazy eyes. What's up, GT Fish? Great to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. This is yummy. If you're a place where you don't eat a lot of whole foods, or you're not supposed to, or you don't have to, I got rice in my beard too. Wow. That's cheese, bro. Homeless style, right? Or straight out of the beard in the mouth. Gross, huh? No, but if you're someplace where you don't got to eat a lot of frijoles y arroz or Whole Foods or whatever, man, I'm telling you guys. I know that looks boring, but that is so good, dude. That creamy green sauce, creamy cheese, a little bit of rice, very healthy. You know, less than 50 cents a serving still, less than 50 USD per serving. And it's got all the flavor in the world, all the flavor. You don't even need all the cheese. You don't even need all the sauce. You know, you can just make a really good rice, some lentils or something. Man, so good. So good. Let's see, 29% said that Charlie Kirk said about the white race that you too can be white. Nobody has said that, no, you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. 14% have said that he said, they say, hey, whitey, and we say amen. And then 57% says that Charlie Kirk has said all of the above. Stupid comedy. More nom during Eden. I'll cook satay for a while. Cool. Sounds like you got the routine, my friend. Sounds like you got the reason in the routine. Yeah. What reason? What reason could exist? There is none. There is none. Is there supposed to be? Nah, just eat good food, bro. That's good, dude. That's dank, dude. That's so good. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to celebrate it too much because I'm going to go back for seconds, bro, but... Man. Yeah, so if you guys want to debate Donald Trump, MAGA, how he's doing, dude, the GOP's bailing out, right? Donald Trump had to go rally against the GOP because he's telling you that Americans for centuries, or now is the time, right? Which is it? Have Americans always appealed to our American history and heritage? This is new. This is a novelty and an invention under Donald Trump. Wasn't true for even someone like Ronald Reagan, you know? You know, Ronald Reagan didn't appeal to that stuff, but Donald Trump does. What do you guys think? What's the deal, yo? I don't think there's anything that splits the difference on it, if I could be honest. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's wild. Say you'll remember me, staring at the sunlight, doing all right, babe. Red light and rosy rings. Na 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 da 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 da. Wildest dreams. Oh. Any T Swift fans? You guys are T Swift fans up there? Teach them how to Dougie. Hey, yeah, all the bitches love me. Oh man, we got people flopping votes around. Hey, what's going on? Jazzy Production 6132. Great to see you. Great to see you. How are you doing? Hopefully y'all are taking care of yourself tonight. Got some good food, good whatever. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. That's the jam, man. That's the peaches, bruh. Teach me how to Dougie. 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 Yum. Hey, what up, in Love 19? Good to see you, homie. This is, I don't know what it's called. Peach Plus. Hey, it's not as good as vegan chicken nuggies, dino nuggies, vegan dino nuggies. Yeah, but it's aight. It's new, so it still tastes good. It's new, so it tastes aight. Aight. I don't know who Karen Bass is. She's that lawyer lady. Karen Bass is a lawyer. What does she have to do with anything important? Oh, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Yeah, yeah, and she is a lawyer. So okay, yeah. I mean, I don't live in Los Angeles, so I don't know why I would care about Karen Bass that much. Is that the right answer? It's maybe not the most exciting answer, but yeah. I mean, she probably spends the majority of her time learning about new Chipotle locations. You know, every 12 months, she's like, even if she's a Democrat, she's still like, what are those Port of Los Angeles, Port of LA, what are those dock workers up to? Do they want to move to Sacramento, to Stockton, California? You know, get off my lawn with your damn labor movement. You know? Have you ever thought about it introspectively and thoughtful about it when it came out, when you thought about it because you thought about it? Yeah, introspecting is very powerful and important. Introspecting and intrapersonal relationships. So, yeah, it's not meant, I think it's meant to actually get to know yourself, in my opinion. Free teeth for the homeless. Yeah, says the rich white dude. I don't know if that's supposed to be a joke or there's a translation problem, but that doesn't make any sense, says that person. My chat stopped, so I gotta tripod again to get chat back on. Give me 1 second. Top messages, all messages, yeah. Can you borrow 5,000? I don't know. Can I time you up for my chat? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. I think when we think about interpersonal relationships, it is about getting to know ourselves authentically, and it's also important for developing deeper held beliefs. It's easy to form surface level judgments, to reinforce surface level appearances to things, and yeah. And a lot of times, like Charlie Kirk is an example. Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump are an example of when you go beyond the surface level, the deeper truth is these are two dumb people. These are two dumb human beings. I don't know why you want to talk about that, but yeah, it's very, very internet, very weird. It's very Reddit. It's a very strange statement. Yeah. It's a very strange statement, buddy. I don't know what you wanted to talk about. Anything good? Red lips and rosy cheeks, dealing with the sunset, something new. Why these dreams are. How do you act around a lady? I mean, you go on a first date and you ask a lady how she's doing. Thanks, Dan Larp. Dan Larp. Dan Larp, I appreciate you. Dan Larp, 5697. Great to see you. Burp. Great to see you, dude. You too. You too. Reddit style. Did you guys hear about the CIA officer who got arrested with $40 million in gold? 300 kilo gold bars or something. I don't know, however big they were. Man, got to keep going and going. Apparently, he lied about a bunch of credentials and whatnot. I don't know how that snuck by those folks, those fellers. He said, hey, we'll hire you for it. You're just the guy we was looking for. And he said, okay, cool. And they hired him, and he did what he was going to do and the whatnot. And so there you go. We can say anything when this guy does the thing we know he's probably going to do. This idiot. All you got to do is not give him real work for some time and then give him access to something that's also his. To me, that's the correct scale of a conspiracy theory. It's incorrect to say the Earth is flat. It's incorrect to say the moon doesn't exist. It is correct to wonder if the CIA let this like thief liar guy into his. Hey, what's going on, Tony Castro? Good to see you, homie. Good to see you, Tony Castro, sir, and Vic as well. Free labor, yeah. Free nighttime headlines, right? I can't picture a conspiracy that does more than get like one headline. That's actually what Russia and the United States, after the Cold War ended, very shortly after the Cold War ended, they collaborated to get media and scientific communicators in around climate change and energy usage. Yeah, there's this whole big project that's declassified now. I forgot what it was called. But that was another headline grab CIA scheme. Right? It was the CIA and Central Intelligence Agency. So, and this is 1990. So this is a post-Cold War, long after World War II and the OSS. This is long after you have multiple proxy wars. And so you should be, in some sense, this is, you probably know the European Union is on the horizon. More regional trade groups are coming along. So you're probably very well endowed in terms of like regional assets and stuff. Love Thy Neighbor 007 says, hi, hey, what's going on? Hey, I see all these game streamers playing, what's it called? Playing the new James Bond game, so that's cool. I guess, yeah. It's what the people say. It's what the people want. Your mom is flat. Yeah. Apparently. I wouldn't think so, but night action, I don't know what that means. I don't know what night action is. Michael Purcella, 59.99. Cool. Yeah. Moon ain't flat, it's cheese. Hey, there's a good theory. Hey, what's going on, Max? Good to see you. Charlie Kirk was not shot by Tyler Robinson, so clearly a bigger conspiracy. Yeah. I would be really confident you have no reason to say that. Yeah. What are we talking about? Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate it when you guys are nice to me. 19 votes on the poll, guys. 11 more votes and we'll be at a sample size. So what did Charlie Kirk say about the white race? 26% know that Charlie said you too can be white. None of you guys have said you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. 26% said they say, hey whitey, we say amen. And 47% for number 47 have said all of the above. I don't know. What was it that we were talking about? I have no clue. I have no idea. No clue. Whoa. Nothing wrong with being white, says Rick Young. Yeah. Yeah, Charlie Kirk talked about it a lot. He loved those guys. He loved those guys. He got little turning point um, Beats by Dre boxes and said, "Hey, we're gonna go send these out at Christmas time. These Beats by Dre um, turning point things for all the white folks at Charlottesville." He loved those guys. He said, "Yeah, I love these guys," is what he said. Yeah. Hey, that's also true, Rick. That's very true. No one could even argue that, right? At that point, most of the founding fathers were a bunch of white dudes. Yeah. Metcalf trial prepping. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I'm gonna get the shaky Google search back up. Oh, Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, very sad. Very sad story. You seem tired. I'm still curious if you feel. I didn't ask you to tell me if I felt tired or not. I'm still curious why you feel Senator Kelly was not wronged when Trump accused him of treason for. I didn't take that. I didn't take your statement to be that. Yeah, I don't know why I would be standing up for Mark Kelly either. But yeah, French and Brits, Texas football, high school murder. Yeah. Yeah. So there was a fight at a high school football game. And this 17-year-old kid, Carmelo Anthony, apparently he was assaulted. The timeline looks like that he may have been assaulted during a physical altercation, but I believe it was his knife. He was carrying a knife. And so, yeah, I mean, the courts need to consider all those factors. Like, well, who's the person who carries a knife for stabbing purposes? Was this a Bass Pro Shop knife that you cut fishing lines with? You know, but yeah, I think it's really stupid. We let people carry handguns too. I'm not opposed to the Second Amendment, right? There's some people that are like, yeah, guns should just be illegal, and cities themselves, right? Not just states, but cities should be able to do more to regulate firearms. It should be a lot easier. I tend to agree with that. But I also tend to agree that the person that buys a gun for self-defense is a person that's buying a gun to shoot people, right? That's what that's for. So, yeah. So it was a misunderstanding. Which movie is better, Passion of the Christ or Brokeback Mountain? Um, yeah, Brokeback Mountain is definitely better. Yeah, it's definitely better. It's more truthful. Passion of the Christ is a fiction. It's a made-up story. So yeah, it's like Speaker's Corner or Leadership Hour or something like that. Apparently, I didn't know that. Trump called Putin the boss as two uninformed men on their knees rolled out the red carpet. It's always fiction until you need Christ repent. Cool. I'm going to ban you next time you say something like that. Yeah, next time you order people around on the internet to do something here, I'll just ban you. It's very easy. Yeah. I've said this before. Don't let these Christian lunatics around the kids. These people are weirdos, psycho. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with having antisocial personality disorder. No one disagrees, right? The world is a big magical place. Soulless. Cool. Yeah, you should be a poet. You should be a poet. I don't know where you're going to be a poet, but you're going to be a poet somewhere, buddy. I'm not sorry. JR says, hey, what's going on, Jay? Good to see you. Agree. Microphone, YouTube gaming, MV8. Yeah, that's the I have the Shure MV6, so I'm not using it right now, but this one is very heavy. And so if you're a gaming streamer or something, this, I'm not going to leave it out for long, but this is there's both a digital and a manual audio processor in there. But the main thing is, yeah, microphones are fragile, especially a lot of the shotgun and directional mics you can get. Very fragile devices. And the MV6 is a little more resilient. It's meant to be sat on your desk, used every day. So that's why I got that one. And yeah, I had my channel. I would recommend doing research if you guys are into audio stuff. But yeah, I bought that mic after, very lucky to have it. My phone is not that expensive. My phone's $100 phone. My Chromebook, the laptop I have below the screen is $70, and the microphone was $100, $99.99. So, but I ended up buying that one because it was heavy, and yeah, and it's USB, so I actually have to, when I plug it in and use it, it sounds really nice. It's great for editing videos and stuff like this too. Repent, LOL. Yeah. I was just browsing random clips. I was browsing random just downloadable clips. And I have this video of this pastor talking about watching Netflix. He's not talking about going to adult websites, which even in that case, why would a grown man talking to people he not know be talking about porn? But there's a banana for scale as well. Why would a grown man talking to kids he doesn't know talk about their choice of consumption of media? And he, in this really freaky, this is why I say don't let these psychos around people. In this very short video, he's like, I want you to picture my face when you're watching Netflix. And he's like, one of these Mr. Smiley, Mr. Joyful, Mr. Happy type guys. That is so weird. That is so weird that you're killing someone's passion or curiosity for Christ. How else is someone supposed to interpret that? How else would someone interpret that? That's not killing something for Christ. It doesn't make any sense. Literally, it makes zero sense in any world. Makes zero sense. But yeah, the other thing I'll say is, because someone talked about a microphone. Yeah, just be careful if you're buying equipment for streaming or something. I mean, this wasn't that much. This was $4, but I had to go out and buy a new USB cable today. And so yeah, the more stuff you have, the more stuff that can break, and you don't need most of it. And yeah, a lot of, apologetics. I mean, it's an entire content category dedicated to oops, trying to get this audio upgraded, guys. Let's see. I just wanted to see the microphone or something. Was this what we were working on? Let's see. You guys should have, if you guys can still hear me, let me know if you guys have better audio. I'm going to ban you next time you ask if I'm Jewish. Literally next thing you say out of line, you're banned off from the channel forever. I didn't see where in my thing it asks if I'm building an... Okay, do you guys have audio now? No audio? Do you guys have audio? Anyone? Can't hear you? Let's try it one more time. What about now? Can you guys hear me now? Audio, audio. Audio, audio, audio. Okay, what about this? Let's try this. What about this? Do you guys have audio now? Audio, audio. Yes, audio, cool. And it should be the good audio now. This should be the improved over. the last improved version of it. Cool. Yeah, so we should have that. Yeah. Still can't hear you. Nothing. Yes, yes, no. Yes, no. No, I'm just going to flip it if it's. Sing something. Yes, cool. Yeah, we have audio. I don't know what to sing. I don't know what to sing or think or say. Maybe I can save it for the other day. Can I? Can I not? I don't think so. But I know I can make jokes at the expense of MAGA or something. I don't know. Apparently that's what we're doing, folks. Hey, what up? Use autotune. Yeah, I could. I don't have to, but I could use autotune. Why would, I don't know why people would make AI songs with Suno if you could record something. But yeah. I think your new audio setup is directional. This is not a directional mic. This is not a directional mic. Yeah. This is just a single, what are they called? Cardioid mic. So it is agnostic. The sound picks up sound from all directions. So literally you can turn it, turn it, and there's just literally no difference. And I don't even have to talk as loud as I'm talking. So you can talk as loud as you want or whatever, but yeah. He's asking if someone is Jewish bad. Are you Mossad? Yapping. That's yapping? Yeah, it's really weird. I didn't remember building a Jew-free channel. I didn't remember with all the anti-Semites who want to start things off and you want to go around like that. That's not a normal question. Can you imagine going to get coffee with someone that you've never met if they said something and you yourself are Jewish and you're like, well, look, we may have this in common or something. I was just at a mitzvah or something. Of course. Yeah. But that's not what 99% of that is. Hey, still me, good to see you. Okay. What are you going to do when Trump is not president? Who will you blame then? Why are you so obsessed? Why am I so obsessed with MAGA? Serious question. Yeah, you could seriously answer that question yourself, right? It sounds like you are already indoctrinated, right? And so you creeped me out with that question. Next time you say something like that, I'm going to ban you from the channel. Yeah, next time you say something like that, I'm going to ban you from the channel. So you've already prescribed in your own head that someone is obsessed with MAGA. Like it is okay to disagree with people and not be obsessed with them. Yeah, I didn't take a single class in college. I'm a 36-year-old grown-ass adult with a prefrontal cortex and a fully developed brain. I didn't take a single class in college or high school about MAGA. When I've written essays, I've written less than 1% of the essays I've written have been about MAGA and Donald Trump, and he's president. So next time you say creepy shit like that, I'm going to ban you then. Okay, cool. Yeah, bye. Yeah, not that hard. You got what you asked for, and then you got what you asked for twice. So what is there to complain about? And yet you're complaining still while you're telling me to go ahead and ban you. So you're banned. Cool. That wasn't that hard. I'm not anti-Semitic, but I'm definitely anti-Zionist. Yeah. Very strange. Zionism was not a topic of conversation for a very long time. And because people couldn't just say I'm anti-war, because they weren't, right? These are the same violent people who won't look at their consumption habits. These are the same violent people who won't vote for either pacifist or nonviolent presidents and representatives in Congress. They don't ask, right? They vote their party affiliation, so they label things Zionism because it's convenient. Yeah, and then they get mad, right? Same people, the same really peaceful democratic socialists in the US, these internet psychopaths, right? These Reddit psychopaths on YouTube, wherever they are, they're the exact same thing as Christian apologists. Same thing with, and then they get upset when Charlie Kirk is xenophobic or Islamophobic. It's like, you're the same kind of psychopath, right? You will not take responsibility you voice your opinion, you take things glibly, and yeah, you have fun playing around in other people's lives. So why does that surprise anyone? Christian nationalism is bad. No obsession needed to spot that one. Christian nationalism is a very new idea, right? Christian nationalism being in the national spotlight, this is a new phenomenon. And so saying someone is obsessed versus saying it's exciting empirically, but there's a lot of reasons why, like you say, Christian nationalism is bad at conducting politics. It's bad at democracy. It is not a democratic. It's an anti-democratic movement at its core. And you can just look at how closely, not only that do Christian nationalists want to regulate women's health, but it's also women's role in the household. It's also eventually, what does that lead to, right? It's not a slippery slope to say this eventually leads to or impacts education for women. And then it's absolutely anti-democratic to have church and state as one thing. So return to the gym duck. Yeah, I don't know who gave you leadership or important powers, but whatever you think that was is not that. Christian nationalism isn't new. That's like the entire Dark Ages. You're just making stuff up. You're literally just making stuff up now. Not at all a new thing, considering. I don't think that it was. I don't think that it was. Yeah, I don't think that the Holy Roman Empire, Constantine. Those are two very different things. Yeah, there wasn't even the nation or country to say in the Holy Roman Empire, and in the Dark Ages and Middle Ages, there wasn't even a Westphalian nation state. There was no sense of borders or laws like we have today. Hate when junkies think that they're smart. I mean, that sounds like one of your own ideas, so cool. That's as far as I know, I've never heard anyone in the chat room say that that's their idea, so thank you, I guess. Thank you. Historians would disagree. Cool. Yeah, I'm sure someone would, right? It would be an interested, informed discussion or debate to have, or prepare for that debate, that type of discussion. But yeah, I'm not aware of a period of time where, because we can look at things, even, the Protestantism expanding westward, the role of Catholicism in the US. These were largely socioeconomic considerations. They didn't have to do with international politics. And the US has never been very involved in international politics. So that's one sharp distinction that I think would be very difficult to overcome for the United States' context. Like George Bush, people can say George Bush had this Christendom sort of ironic wish for Iraq and Afghanistan, but it didn't show up anywhere, right? So I don't know how someone would, I don't know anywhere in the Gulf Wars, the proxy wars, I don't know how someone would make the case that, that religion was up in order from like colonization, even the really bad stuff. The Nazi Party being a Christian nationalist movement would not be a, because I have a background in political theory more than anything, I would just say, it was fascism, right? It was fascism, and having this characteristic of calling it, I would want to see the evidence, but it's very difficult to argue that Hitler and the sort of party storyline didn't follow along fascism in the rest of Europe and around the world. Oh, bless me. Sorry about that. Do I have any boogies? It doesn't look like it. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Cool. I mean, that's very happenstance, right? Saying that calling something an artifact, meaning that it's housing meaning for people, that's what an artifact is in philosophy. And so we could say in some sense, we can talk about whether or not, the thing is that thing, or the thing is like, it is the object towards which meaning, it's like a two directional meaning trap or something. It'd be very difficult. I don't know why that would be in the scale of the Second World War. I don't know why a belt buckle or even all of the fashion and aesthetic itself, not entirely supporting Christian nationalism, but yeah. Cool. Yeah, you may know stuff that I don't know. Hey, what's going on, Piper Adams? Yeah, bless you too, I guess. It sounds like you had already decided on that one, so shout out to you. Yeah, sounds like you had already decided on that one. Shout out to you for that. Yeah, rock on to you as well. All of those back to you, yeah. I don't know that anyone else in the chat, I'm assuming that was directed to me. I don't know if anybody was looking for blessings here. Yeah, but cool. Hey, what up, cheeseburger? I like that. Man, cheeseburgers were my favorite food before I went vegan, and they still are. If I had got to pick a perfect birthday meal for any time, I would choose a cheeseburger with burger sauce. Vegan cheeseburger with burger sauce. Yeah, I mean, so my argument would be, that wouldn't be my argument, right? It might sound similar, right? But I would say that I would want to consider the evidence that exists that Nazism was grounded or based or ultimately, were Christian slogans, ultimately, penultimately, or I forgot the one that, what is it? The one that comes before that is like, what is it, like qui ultimately or something like this? But yeah, at what point does Christianity enter into the Third Reich's reasoning? And so the argument would be that, yeah, but I would take that into consideration. And so, and so what's the other would be that Nazis using God would be similar to them using social in their party name. Yeah. I mean, we could think of like the combination of totalitarianism and dictatorship as accounting for like the procedural aspects of fascism. And so, where in this do you have? Where does Christianity come into play if it's nation state identity, right? If it's nation state identity, what about this is Christian? It seems like a weak position to entertain or to maintain, to hold. Yeah. We got 35 votes now. So what did Charlie Kirk say about the white race? 20% said you too can be white. 3% said no, you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. 20% have said they say, hey whitey, we say amen. And 57% said all of the above is what Charlie Kirk said about the white race. Ben Folds, like the Ben Folds, that's pretty cool. A new interview where he discusses about how dictatorial I haven't. No, I'm not that closely into art. So yeah. I haven't seen that. Yeah. Cool. Whoa. I haven't read anything in like many years. Gavin Lomas. Are you a big Dostoevsky fan? What was the last one I read? What was the last one that I've read? I'd love our take on this. Our take on this. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why an artist would be. I don't know why I think an artist. Yeah, so he's talking. So what is he actually saying? Is what I would say. What I normally say, what we say, is yeah, he's talking about freedom of expression is not a collective or a social appeal. Right? Freedom of expression is just exactly like it sounds like. It's one person expressing themselves. When the president pulls the strings, which artists can, or yeah, and I mean the aggregate political climate and environment, the anti-science line. Donald Trump has not made it a fertile ground intentionally for I think apolitical people and those in the arts or sciences to be successful. I think Donald Trump's intentionally, I think he's made idiocracy in order to be successful. The only way to support Donald Trump is to be uneducated. I have no clue how someone would justify supporting Donald Trump if they were educated. By almost any standard, literally everything he's done has been a disaster. Hey, the Spurs won. Cool. Congrats. Congrats to San Antonio, to Texas. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Cool. Hey, why don't you chill out there, Lego? Why don't you chill out there, bud? Charlie Kirk wasn't racist or a white nationalist. He doesn't get that luxury of being your friend or in your text messages, right? Charlie Kirk wasn't in your DMs. I have no idea what world you're living in where you think you and Charlie Kirk were right next to each other. Charlie Kirk had a national platform, and he bought bus tickets for white supremacists to go to political events. And a lot of them got arrested there, right? This isn't fiction. This isn't stranger than fiction. His friend was Brandon. That literally has nothing to do with anything. That is something that your head just brought up because I don't know why, Connor. James, I'm going to ban you next time you say hi like that. Yeah, you can. I think you're talking to yourself, first of all. And so whatever your great God-given day has been in reality versus what you think it was, next time you say hi like that, I'm going to ban you off the channel. Cool. Yeah. If you're making content in chat, go make the video. If you are passionate about that, go sink 3 hours into editing it or record a short and see how you feel about it, right? You don't even have to post it to the database. I'm not your bud. Yeah, I like music. Goat Rodeo Sessions. Go look them up if you haven't seen them. Go look them up, bud. Bud. That's like a sociopathic speech pattern. It doesn't make any sense. I've met Charlie down in DC during a pro-life rally. He's a good, cool. Politically, Charlie, that's your opinion. You're saying he's a good dude, like it's a state of the universe. That's also in your fucked up head. That's also something that's only in your fucked up head. You are intolerant. Cool. You're about to be banned. You're about to be banned. Yeah, you're about to be banned. So whatever. Whatever. I don't know why you don't take a rip instead of, you come in here and you insist on everybody recognizing you. Doesn't make any sense. Just because you disagree on stuff doesn't mean he's automatically a scumbag. Well, you're pinning it on him being a scumbag. I'm saying he had a national platform. He was uneducated, irresponsible. He didn't value human life for beingness. He was a nationalist, and he associated with white supremacists. So, and he harbored, his organization was incredibly racist and xenophobic internally. So he was a bad leader. So he was an influential political leader who had less than a high school GED, right? He was very uneducated and an idiot. So cool. We should be intolerant. I have no clue why you guys somehow find a way to find intolerance as a political issue every day. It makes zero sense. Did you not indulge today? None of you guys are all living a minimalist Japanese lifestyle, right? You guys are all doing your Kyoto bowls from 2 weeks ago and your hot towel baths. Is that right? Is that right? Christian Ross, what's up? Death by Stone says, hey girl, clock it. What's up? Clock it, honey. I don't know what that means, baby doll, or something. Do you like Ben Folds music? Yeah, Ben Folds is good. She plays Wipeout on the drums. Birds in the trees come gather around to play the guitar. Oh, have you got nothing to say? And you can see. Sorry, I'm not going to stop spreading you. All right. See you, James. Reminder to drink water. Cool. Thanks, Victor. Appreciate it. Sugar plums and dum-dums. Jack Fry says hi. What's up, Jack Fry? Birds in the trees come gather around to play the guitar. Oh, have you got nothing to say? Ben Folds is pretty good. Yeah, Ben Folds is pretty good. And you can see the daisies in her footsteps. Do you guys want to see our Art Deco ducks? This is how much I love art. There's flower duck, and there's other duck, and then there's earth. These are our art series duck emojis. They're looking at you. They're looking at the world. What would Kanye say if he's looking at you? Hey, thanks so much. Oh my God, Goat Trophy. Thanks, Gavin. I appreciate it, dude. I love how you're able to cook all the idiots in chat. Yeah, I hate it. I hate my YouTube channel right now. I hate that. Yeah, it's not that like I couldn't ideate topics or ChatGPT or use vidIQ for stuff, and I don't want to call people idiots. But it's rudeness, right? It's being a rude animal or a rude social participant. And so thanks so much for the Goat Trophy. That stuff does help a lot. That's a huge gift. Thank you. I appreciate it. The Popper reference earlier was to whoever was whining about intolerance. Yeah, I had a whole class on, what's his name? Scanlon. John Stuart Mill and Scanlon were the ones that I'm familiar with. I'm not familiar with Popper's argument for tolerance. But I'll post this one in chat. This is, yeah, this book was really hard. This book made me not want to, I quit my business degree. I quit like my bachelor's of science, my methodology classes for political theory. And this book made me want to quit studying political theory. It's very hard. It's political philosophy, I think, but it's very hard. We do evidence-based and scholastic politics. Short? Yeah. But yeah, I'll throw that one in my browser because I do appreciate when people make reading suggestions. Popper, Paradox of. Yeah, this is a much more, it sounds like a much more European versus like almost legalistic sense of tolerance. But yeah, I appreciate the reference and would appreciate reading it. Sorry for the shaky screen, guys. I'm glad I pushed through to complete your business degree. Cool. Yeah, shout out to you, Director Kelly. You got any evidence on how Charlie was racist when his I mean, I'm not going to, I don't want to talk about this ad infinitum, right? You see leaked text that there's racial messages going around before. You ask if the pot is calling the kettle black when you see that he takes anytime that there are accusations and even follow-up convictions about race being involved in violence in criminal law, something we know happens at least 15,000 times a year in the US. So in the cases where it does happen and it does exist, and you see racism exist because Southern Poverty Law Center apparently can track it. And then on the tail end of this, you have a guy who has racism inside his organization, gives money and time to people like Jack P. and people directly involved in the murder of a young girl in Charlottesville while chanting "Jews will not replace us," holding torches. Carrying assault weapons right next to people who actually had Nazi swastikas on them. So these were Charlie Kirk's friends. This is the position that he takes. Yeah. Yeah, Charlie Kirk shouldn't have, someone should have said this guy's an idiot. This guy's brain dead, right? Charlie Kirk, we should have wondered if he had to wear a helmet to go to Disney World. Charlie Kirk was an idiot. And so we failed Charlie Kirk, and political violence is never acceptable. And I'm sorry for saying that. Charlie Kirk should never have been someone who speaks about political issues that impact lots of people. He was an idiot. It's not normal. The conversations that you're a part of, the news stories that you read, 90% of your algorithm is not normal human brain food. Just get that through your head, right? It's freak brain food. This stuff is not normal. Color Lover says, dude, you're an idiot. Cool. You feel some way about people and you call them idiots. Yeah. Yeah. Kirk was indeed ignorant and bigoted man. Yeah. Yeah. He was a victim of himself. He was a victim of a person who shot him, but his legacy, he is a victim of himself in terms of the only legacy that's possible to Charlie Kirk. And I'm telling you this as someone who is smarter than you and more well-read and more well-studied. So if you want an appeal to authority, yeah, there's an appeal to authority. Charlie Kirk doesn't have any legacy. That he is a victim of his own true legacy, which is that of a racist and an idiot, a moron. Wait, you popped up in my algorithm. What's going on, Woodworking Gunny? Good to see you. Yeah, shout out to you. Hey, what up, Neve? Good to see you. Never under pressure. Never under pressure. Have you heard about the DOJ investigation? Yeah, very creepy. So Donald Trump has not only been civilly found liable for accusing his grape victims of lying. So he's been accused of defaming his own grape victims, but now he's weaponized the DOJ yet again. So I talked about that in my most recent short. There's a good reason why the DOJ itself, like when we look at the courts too, right? The courts, if you look at the DOJ as an investigative body, but it should be less tightly linked to the executive in most senses. In like 99% of the time, like that's true. Because the courts, right? The courts depend on having unbiased cases come to it because the courts are the weakest branch of government by far. And this is, you can ask, I just was watching this woman named something Schaefer, I believe. She's an Arizona State University political science and public policy professor or something. But she was talking about Federalist 78 and why it's the case that there's not a balance in the Constitution. There's no balance of powers, and it's so weak. And we see how Donald Trump's acted. It's very bad. I don't know why you're calling me Dan Blazarian, but yeah, I have a beard, so shout out to you. Yeah, shout out to you. Run the lady her money. She committed perjury, said she wasn't getting paid, but was getting money from a Democratic donor. Cool. So you're already destroying your own brain and body. So the parts of you that you need for your family, and to think rationally and deeply about your own self-interest, you're already destroying your mind and body for somebody who's destroying the United States. Yeah. So to me, that's akin to terrorism, right? To me, that's akin to terrorism, but it's okay, right? Doesn't a terrorist do that? A terrorist also destroys their brain and body for an ideology that doesn't care back about them. The Knicks better not win. I hate the New York Knicks. Cool. All over the place, Connor. Bro, I do not know what you would think. What's wrong with Donald Trump? I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing wrong. Yeah, I mean, that's sufficiently broad and vague, but he's the president. So if you're having a trouble putting together a coherent opinion or just sharing what you feel, right? If you can't share what you feel and you're not putting together coherent opinion, remember that, right, he's the president, so he's subject to the laws of the executive and the Constitution, and he's acted quite a bit. So there's a lot of places you could go look to develop your own opinion or belief instead of repeating what other people say. Hey, Julie, I didn't, but let me go up and see if I can find it. Sorry. I can go find it. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Oh, it got blocked. I just got a Trump live and the guy said that all people that are Muslims are the devil and said all immigrants are aliens and they're all rapists. Yeah, there's a lot of xenophobia. And so this weird attempt, hey, thanks so much for the hundos and the sparkles. Appreciate it. Huge ups. Yeah, and so when we hear xenophobic speech, I mean, it's the case that MAGA Republicans are not conservative. This is evidenced both by the massive expansion of executive power, massive control over the purse, for big spending too, right? Big spending in military, big spending in energy, and creating future expenses in all these areas too. And it's evidenced by Donald Trump's insistence on midterms. And so I do believe that there are conservatives and libertarians and classic republicanisms who see their own religion and beliefs going alongside what the United States government is and does and informing them of this. That's not Donald Trump. That's not JD Vance. That's not RFK. These people are religious nut jobs who shouldn't be around kids. Bush says, as a Republican myself, it's not really immigrants specifically, it's illegal immigration. There's a difference. Immigration is natural throughout America. Yeah, so you're telling me that you're a Republican who hasn't thought about the budget and hasn't actually thought about crime, right? All you've done is labeled illegal immigration. And so this is what's so embarrassing. This is why the Koch brothers, the billionaires, had to bail you guys out during the Tea Party era. And this is why you had to have another man, Donald Trump, bail you out now. And so much so that you're not Republican and conservative, you're part of the MAGA GOP, right? You basically just repeated a MAGA talking point. Well, if you agree that all politics are corrupt, you would agree that, so you're changing the topic because you don't have an opinion on illegal immigration. You have a talking point in your own head that has nothing to do with reality. Insistence on midterms. Wait, don't we always have midterms? What do you talk? My point wasn't like I don't know if your brain is not functioning, but there was not a debate point in Donald Trump insisting that MAGA Republicans take midterm wins, right? This is what Donald Trump has advertised and talked about. And so now you're arguing whether or not we have a political process such as midterms, and most states. So I have no idea what you're talking about. Donald Trump is fine with me. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's all you guys are saying is Donald Trump is fine with you. And yeah, and a lot of people would say, I'm not sure how you square it. It appears you're saying that without any evidences. Like you have again, a feeling about yourself. Like that's terrorism, right? To me, again, that's terrorism. You're willing to destroy your future to not be evidenced, not be well researched because Donald Trump is the default choice or something like this. It's a uniparty. Cool. That's stupid shit that's stuff people from Reddit say. They say it's a uniparty. Donald Trump is not my president. I don't think anyone said that. Woodworking, we had, yeah. Call the police. Someone has a different. These aren't opinions, right? These are saying that, well, we're journeying towards something, right? I don't even know what they are. It's not an opinion supposed to be evidence. So having feelings about who you are and where you're going, why is that a political belief, right? What is a belief? What do you actually believe? Do you believe you have neurons left in your head to think about something? If you don't believe you have neurons left in your head to think about something, then where do you look for to be told what to think and feel? Where do you actually look to be told what you should think? What should you think about? What is your metacognition, right? When you have an idea, when you think about a thought you had, so you said, I support Donald Trump, or Donald Trump is fine with me. He's okay with me. What are your thoughts about that? What is your metacognition about that, that cognition of saying Donald Trump's okay with you? If you're very quiet and you listen to yourself, I don't believe in hatred towards any president, though. Yeah, you're prescribing stuff. So you're interpreting your own phenomenal experience that people who disagree with you hate someone, right? And so it's so far off. What's going on in your head is so far off and incorrect. Like I could say I hate George W. Bush, but if I'm a political theorist, I'm a political scientist. If you know that I have a different set of experience, and in some areas, something that comes closer to expertise, in other areas, it's proficiency. And I watch politics frequently. Yeah, you can send 2 red super chats. I also have a direct donation link on the page. So red super chats let you donate up to $499. That stuff helps a lot, guys. I don't get paid that often by YouTube. So when you guys send small or big donations, those help me go to that sort of next stage where I get a paycheck. I'm not making $1 million, guys. So thank you. If you guys do want to support me, you can go to my channel page. My direct donation link is there. And then I love super chats. I love super stickers. I love memberships, all those things. Right. And so, yeah. So, I mean, someone saying, so you saying you don't believe in hatred is like putting you up, like it's putting you above other people because you don't believe in hatred and they do. So I'm not sure why we're going through all of your guys' tactics and strategies to stay afloat on the internet. Because there's real life in the internet, right? How you think you're perceived when you're in a far right chat room or something is different than here. Would you rather have your hands feel always wet or sticky? That is a silly question. What kind of alien do you like the most? I don't know what that means. Sorry. Please don't say I'm a genius, right? I'm not a genius. I'm actually not a genius. There are people smarter than me. So there's a lot of people smarter than me. Oh, thanks so much. Thanks so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, cool. I mean, pull from your experience, right? Our intrapersonal experience helps us engage material better. But my checklist is like, if you read an article or a book, how is it organized and structured, right? If you've pursued success, you probably have a really great brain that's working for you. And so that's a huge advantage, right? It usually means that you can get through longer pieces or sections of text, understand how it's organized, understand the author's purpose, and identify the core argument and stuff. And so from my scholastic experience, that's what I'd recommend. Yeah, and then my other, the blend of agnosticism, of having an idea you're passionate about versus at the end of it, Gnostically understanding that things like the civil rights movement were deeply hard fought and people suffered. Some of the people that died because of racism in the US didn't get to stay around and see the brighter side of society. So it's very sad from a sort of being a human perspective, just being human. Being human isn't this like grandiose plea to not be an animal or to be civilized. It's just seeing that, there's a, I don't know, to me, it's like there's a shitty way to live. Bro, don't smoke vape. That's bad for you. Yeah. Thanks, Dane. Thanks. How much appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. You're super, super welcome. Favorite wing flavor. When I ate wings before I was vegan, I loved, PB&J hot. I loved honey hot and PB&J hot. And I love just plain like medium or hot wings too. Yeah. I didn't need like a ton of spice. I'm in Arizona, but my family are a bunch of, Italian Polacks. So we didn't always have, we didn't always have spicy foods. Yeah. Cat in a box. Thanks. Clap like seals. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why did you go vegan though? Yeah, you want to, if you want to waste your time killing a bunch of chickens, go kill a bunch more chickens. That doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, and you're going to get to a point where you can no longer balance it, right? You can for me, I can no longer balance a top where I'm comfortable, I'm doing well in my own life, and for me, that thing was eating meat, right? The thing underneath it was eating meat. My intentions about it were about comfort, about preference, about all these other things. So whether you balance tops on the top or the bottom of, your impact, what makes you feel satisfied, what helps others feel satisfied, stuff like that. It is a weak framing, a weak lens to re-explore how well we know ourselves and know other things. You'd have a really nice personal electronic nicotine. Yeah, thanks, China. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. Hey, thank you. Vegans still kill plants. Plants are living. Right. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I'm not telling you to go vegan. I was if morality came up, if meaning or purpose comes up, that is one intrapersonal example I've explored because I've done it now for 4 years. And so you don't have to believe in that yourself. But it's one of those good things to do, right? It's a good thing to do because once you explore something yourself that you feel good about and you've explored it as deeply as you could, and it's only time, right? It's just then a matter of time because you can't explore it more in the present moment. Then that's all on you and that's up to you. So yeah, not killing animals, not exploiting animals. So it's also saying something like, well, even if you buy animal waste products or something, that you're commoditizing a dead animal. So, so that's the logic for no animal products in general. But like, yeah, why at a buffet, right? If you go to a buffet and it's like a family dinner, why not eat meat there? And, who knows? So the vegan teacher is a vegan nationalist. Hasn't the vegan teacher lost his whole popularity point? I don't read that much. I almost bought Hillbilly Elegy, Hillbilly Elegy today, the J.D. Vance book. But yeah, I went to Goodwill. There was this other one. Dr. Zeke has a book on healthcare systems all around the world, so I almost bought his book too. But yeah, I love the classics. This style of book, you can. Where is it? Oh snap! I don't know where my favorite book went. Give me 1 sec, everybody. I've lost my book. I can't find it, but the book I really recommend, So I really recommend Penguin Classics. They're these little black, if you just look up Penguin Classics and like Dostoevsky or Rousseau or Locke, those are the books I like. But yeah, these are the ones that college professors assign, because even new copies of these books are like $10, and you can find them used for like a couple bucks. And yeah, but they're awesome. And so, and then I use a phrase, tiny arguments. I don't know if you guys like tiny arguments or you like big blocks of text. Cool. Thanks, Ramsey DeCelio. If that came through on, if the $25 came through on email, I will see it here. Yeah, don't see it, but yeah, sorry. So yeah, I have a direct donation link on my page, and you guys can send super chats, support your favorite streamers, support your favorite charities, all that kind of stuff. Whatever's helpful. Yeah. Yeah. When Black Panthers march, yeah, I mean, that appears to be very like based in hatred, right? Yeah, based in hatred and anger, right? So that would be that. Any of them, yeah. The one that's my favorite would be, yeah, Rousseau's Social Contract, Locke, Hobbes. Those ones are all good. Yeah, they could be, I guess. It could be. Yeah, isn't Jordan Brand is all Nikes, aren't they? I think so. Cool. You're just making stuff up. Cool. Yeah, well, we can check on this poll result too. Where did it go? Whoops. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about work or something like that, I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, if you're talking about work, I would find meaning inside the work, and then education outside of it as well, right? Corporatism, like if you're talking about work and that's what you mean by success, most corporates just, the whole point of corporate culture is to make it more efficient for you, right? It's to save you time and energy, so you don't have to think about a million things that you're never going to be able to affect change in. But that can also limit people's career pathing or how well they can perform at the job that they eventually want. So it both limits success, and then also limits, to me, my big thing was it limited how I interpret my own moral choices there. So I think I'm a big fan of like very, the big blue wall. I'm a big fan of the corporate slide decks and stuff like that. But like big companies that I worked for, like Vanguard, they don't, they encourage you to learn about Vanguard quite a bit, but they don't tell you to not go learn about anything else. So that's where I would put you, and that's where I'd put myself and stuff like that. Yeah, and then learning management. If you're talking about work, learn a little finance. You don't have to go fast. Learn technology. Learn a little bit about everything. That's what you said last night in a debate. Oh, was it? Was that on the Raging Tomato or here? Yeah. Thanks, Ashton. You're the real one. Cool. Yeah, very nice. Nice guy thing to say, right? Really funny. Funny and creative, right? Creative. Ain't that something? What's that about? What's all that about, folks? Yeah, thank you for the kind words about the beard. The beard loves you. Yeah. I went to Ross Dress for Less today to get a USB-C cable for the mic, and yeah, I was looking at beard trimmers to do it myself. So next month, guys, I'm gonna have, by the time next month comes around, I'm gonna have freaking hair ties pulling my hair back, and yeah, I'm gonna look like a furry. I'll look like a fur ball. I'm gonna be all shaved. I'm gonna be pouring everything all over my body, scrubbing my skin off. Yeah, shout out to you. Let's see. What did Charlie Kirk say about the white race? 17% says you too can be white. 8% says no, you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. 11% said they say hey whitey and we say amen. And 64% said Charlie Kirk said all of the above. Yeah, 6-packs for summers, guys. 6-packs for summer. Yeah, if somebody sends a red $225 super chat, I can get my Planet Fitness membership next month. A year membership to Planet Fitness. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. You're going to work the hell out for football this year. Cool. Cool. Good luck. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, one of my buddies in high school, his dad was an NFL player. His dad was a linebacker for the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah. So that was cool. Yeah. Strong guy, very strong kid. Son was very athletic as well. Yeah. Jimmy Boyle is the name. Knocking heads off is the game. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. All right. All right. Let's go. All right. All right. All the way down to them toes. On the bottom of your foot, them ligaments, drawing them toes and feetsies in. Hell yeah. I ain't want no bound feet. I don't want no tap dancing ballerina. I want nice flat-footed land mammal. Oh, right. Oh, right. Nice strong arches. Played for the Steelers. So with the season starts, he wants to see if he can autograph my Steelers jersey. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's probably not true then, right? Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard in society right now. Hopefully, if you find a place to be successful, you can remain successful. I'm not trying to wax your nuts off or whatever. I got to switch audio, by the way. But yeah, the idiot arc of society is very strong right now. And so, yeah, I mean, everybody, this is like a universal human thing, right? It's like a universal human thing to have. Let me see if I can plug my phone in USB here. Is that wanting to go? Let's see. This isn't working very well. Gotta find a different phone charging setup. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, but I mean, you know, I don't know how old you are. I'm 36. You might be older. You might be younger than me. But finding those time periods where you want to use your brain, where you don't want to use your brain, and where you may have anxiety about using or not using your brain for certain jobs or tasks or for certain reasons, certain times of year, whatever. That's all normal, right? Our brains have metabolism like the rest of our body. So like a common example is, without prescribing what it is, everybody gains the freshman 15 in college, or we gain 5 pounds around Thanksgiving. That's like super normal, right? Yeah. Yeah, and so whatever helps you study and get by and do your thing and all that stuff, find success, continue to find success as you're going out and being successful. Keep doing those things, right? Yeah, keep doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Time does level the playing field too. Yeah. I'm an atheist. My favorite answer to the poll is that no, you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. I think that's pretty funny. You can't write laws to unwhite whitey. That's pretty funny. These pressure valves. Yeah, these are very famous. In the scale, like, it used to be the case that racial comedy was maybe a form of education and a pressure valve. People like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was his comedy was incredibly racial, right? And it has always been that way. And there was no one off limits, right? He made because and so why it was so funny, what you might expect to get back out of it and what you're not going to get back out of it. It felt like him and Neil Brenner recognized that. And yeah. And then the other side, what does that even mean? Yeah. I don't know that. So life, I don't know, RNA, the little robots that you observe without having life, made life. Yeah. Aliens, right? You would think RNA is aliens, right? It's very complex. Just because something doesn't metabolize things doesn't mean it's not energetic and doesn't behave energetically. So like a volcano, right? A volcano is an example of something that our ancestors anthropomorphized volcanoes to think volcanoes were alive. And so when you go down to the same, you go down to the scale of molecules, things in our own body, as well as things that were primordial compared to us, are also that way. Yeah. But yeah. So Dave Chappelle, though, I think Dave Chappelle would agree that somebody should have said you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. Dave Chappelle should have. No, you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. Right? I don't know how you would deliver it or the context, but I would hope him or Neil Brenner would give me at least like a small, like a 2 out of 10 ups on that. I think it's funny. But yeah, so having comedians like Dave Chappelle on Comedy Central, and him being popular enough to be on any like MTV or TMZ, whatever it was, he could skip those too. He was rich enough that he could skip those at some point. But it also used to be the case, someone brought up the Black Panthers, that other pressure valves in the United States have historically been like the Black Panthers. So when you have Black nationalism and you have racism, but you don't actually ever see someone in Washington changing the laws for white people. It's important to contextualize that, yeah, something that has an outward appearance but hasn't actually done anything is not wrong, right? So like Antifa is one of these groups that I don't understand why there is justifiable rage at Antifa. They're annoying, right? Very annoying. Left-wing collectivist ideologies are annoying, but what has this group actually done? Nothing that Donald Trump said it's done. So you're not talking about the creation of life, right? But that's a teleological argument, right? That's a teleological argument to say that you have to keep going back and back and back because you have to have a beginning. So there's some teleos for something to coming to existence versus being explained as existing. And so it's a moving standard. Second, I don't know why, if you can't ground or base your question in one thing, you get your answer to your question, and then you'll get another answer to another question, and then it's moved yet again, or you find the one that's unsatisfactory to you. It seems like an inefficient way of reasoning or debating or discussing or arguing. Yeah. So I was reading about relational quantum mechanics, which is RQM, and Carlo Rovelli described it this way. He described it that if you go to a beach and you start digging through mounds of sand, you go down and you find, well, clumps, you'll find a big sand castle, and then when that breaks, you'll find the clumps of sand. And then as you keep going down, you'll ultimately find the barest part of the beach possible in a single grain of sand. And for Carlo Rovelli, he says, well, it's easy. We talk in philosophy about understanding what the sandcastle is, right? It's the Milky Way, it's the Earth, or it's this epoch, this period of time in cosmology or in astrophysics where we think we know what galaxies were like then or what star formation was like. So you have these really grand, big views. And then for Carlo Rovelli, when you keep going down and you get to the grain of sand, you think that you have a physical nature of reality, but it's really just the fact that a quantum state exists relative to it. It's dependent on observation. And this is space-time itself. It isn't like finding a baseball or a teacup or a particle, a photon going around the Earth. It's a thing that is not really a thing, right? There is not an object there. It is a possibility. And so when you say that our perceptions, what we're actually talking about are relationships in this view of RQM, of quantum mechanics, with Rovelli, then you can ask, well, why does a relationship start, right? If you've said that everything, if Christian apologists have said for the last decades, if you've said for decades that things that started to exist and needed to start existing for some reason, and they had to have a start date, and then it turns out that this just isn't what the universe is like, well, do you just shift the question and say, well, I was right enough in the first place, or it was fun, and by faith alone, but also I'll pretend as if I'm rationally justified, even though I know I'm not? And so with relational quantum mechanics and Rovelli's view, do you ask, is it coherent to ask when a relationship in the physical sense of quantum states begins to exist? It may never be. Hey, what's going on, LD? Great to see you. What's going on, LD? Great to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Great to see you. Shout out $8, right? 1738. She say, what's up, hello? And I'm a pretty baby if you ever let me go. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Divine Soul? Great to see you. Howdy to you as well. Howdy. Why can't white people and black people just get along? It makes no sense. We both like mostly the same stuff. Yeah. Should there be political processes for them? Cool. See ya, LD. Have a good night. Yeah. I mean, the totality of identity and stuff like that, I don't know if that's what that is about. But I mean, part of I think the memes on Black Twitter about black women and stuff like this is that, ask a black woman if she's a black person or something. And it's like, cool, sometimes she might, what does this actually mean, right? Ask before you say it. What would it mean for Myron Gaines or some other, someone who talks about black thought on the internet to say, well, are black women just like black people and just like women, or are they just black women? And right, without re-racializing things, you might say, well, there's always been a recognition that there is no such thing as a unified identity. Welcome to the absurdity of the modern times. Just like there's no such thing as a person who is all the way through a MAGA Republican. Just like there's no such thing as the demon rats, right? There's no such thing as these fictitious labels that Donald Trump's given us to play around with. Cool. Shout out to Cranky Mullet. Hell yeah. Neo-Nazis and the Black Panthers don't help anything. Yeah, you putting them I mean, I feel like that's almost a bannable offense, like putting those in the same statement like that. So, yeah, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, bro. Crazy times. Shouldn't be. Yeah, it really shouldn't be. Yeah. I mean, and especially when we talk about beginnings and ends. And so to say something like, if we go back to relational quantum mechanics, and we can say something like, well, it's even the case that when Carlo Rovelli talks about quantum tunneling or something like this, to suggest that it is simultaneously true and not true, right? That it would be the case that a probability that a particle just ends up tunneling and landing next to the end of the universe or next to the beginning of the universe in the Big Bang, right? The fact that this is a non-zero probability begs us to wonder what it even means to have a creation or a start in the first place, right? You know, the fact that even in our emergent view of reality, you still say that these are relational objects, and that the fundamental nature, the fact that they're not objects but they are relational in the first place, you know, the fact that there's something that we call the Big Bang in the first place, that we would seek, you would just imagine there is something relational there, something that is ultimately, not penultimately, but something that is ultimately relational, and then penultimately we use philosophy to describe it as emergent or something like this. Like, it's a crazy view. It's a very crazy view of what reality is like, and especially with modern quantum mechanics in the standard model, with modern particle theory saying that more of the universe may just be like this. More of the universe may be these exotic interactions than we had previously thought, and it may be the exception, not the norm, that we observe fine tuning. You know, Sean Carroll is someone who would disagree with Rovelli, or debate him in terms of the metaphysics, maybe vigorously disagree. But to say that the fine tuning principle or the fine tuning argument is just dumb to begin with is also pretty crazy to imagine that this is the type of universe that we would talk about, whatever this is. Cell phones did divide and hurt our relationships with the community. Yeah, I see that. I see that. Yeah. Yeah, we should have a lot of respect and love for boomers and people that put in the hard work in the United States, but we should also be incredibly skeptical of ideas that still exist in 2026, ideas themselves that don't talk about cosmopolitan or shared identities, that don't talk about our relationship with nature. They don't talk about the trillions with a T dollars wasted every year by the US and China because we're energy consumers. They don't try to contextualize the fact that Saudi Arabia and Russia, we have the same problem. And it's also, well, you have an economy based 40% on energy and oil. So this should be a better ground of what makes this a better place for us to discuss shared interests, not a worse place or something like this. The same thing, man. Same thing over and over and over again. Hey, what's up? Hello. I've been to Seventh-day Adventist church. One of my friends was, and then I've been to hot churches and I've been to Catholic churches. I've never been to Baptist. I've been to Lutheran church before. Yeah, I had this girlfriend freshman year and she took me to a Lutheran church and I think we kissed. I think we made out at that church event. Yeah. Way back in the day. Yeah. Ow. Fidget spinners, man. Fidget spinners, dude. Fidgety spinners. Wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hell yeah, brother. Planet money, planet oil and gas, planet Earth, planet all this stuff, right? Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. What kind of world is it? It's the kind of world we live in, brother. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what. I ain't never seen a particle do a bong rip. Don't let Carlo Rovelli tell you one of these things that it ain't true. Yeah, you ain't got floor to ceiling mansion style windows without your standard models and your local physics and the whatnot taking these bong rips at the end of it. Reckon you'd have to at some point in time. Someone would beg to differ, but hey, there you go then, bud. Yeah. See how those ones turn out. Hell yeah. I have no opinions about you, right? I appreciate the support for the channel and you sharing your views authentically, but I don't have an opinion about you personally, right? Yeah, for me, if it is, it's the opposite, right? You know, I never believed I was the highest power. I always believed I was being talked to about the highest power. And I believed that one of the most reliable thinking mechanisms, both practically and in terms of learning other topics, was inference and probability. Um, and so those were two reasons. Well, like it would be like the case that, well, if I was learning geopolitics or something or politics, I could say, well, it seems like there's enough similar and enough different, but does that exist in religion? It really doesn't, right? It really doesn't, where you say, well, that empirical seeming is itself ultimately grounded in material reality. And because materialism and because physicalism ultimately is what grounds this type of statement, right? You have quantum chimps building satellites and other particle detectors and all kinds of stuff. And so you don't have geopolitics without physicalism, without this sense of fields and modern cosmology. That's why I'm an atheist, right? I'm an atheist because I didn't want someone talking about a higher power that didn't solve very obvious questions for me. And yeah, and I think the parts of religion I found rewarding was like Catholic dignity and social justice. Those things were always very good for me personally. But yeah, you know, there's a huge difference. You know, I think someone talking about apologetics or something is like, I'll go do apologetics, but I just like, if I'm not going to, I don't think it's apologetics to talk about the natural world, or talk about like what philosophy has to interpret. So I don't know. Yeah, yeah, being strong and not being submissive, right? No Allah, no Allah. You know, when we talk science, are we, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, praise be to God, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. What? All right. You know, the cynic and the aesthetic walks around bowing their heads. One gets back comedy, one gets back suffering. They both do the same thing. You turn into a bobblehead. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna get some water. Let me get some water. Some water. Hey, what's going on? Hell yeah. Now just keep on falling in and out of love with you. I never loved someone way that I love you. I keep on falling. Oh, 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 oh. You know, you can take screenshots on your cell phone of stuff that you may wish to take make content of, and you never have to, right? It's a lot cheaper to take a screenshot, store it on your hard drive, and then you just have it for however long until you go get to clean it out. That's fun too, you know, for some people, cleaning stuff up. And then it's cheaper than asking AI to answer a question or make a picture too. Hey, que hondas, Natish? Good to see you. La mamada, que hondas, way. Beta Chaudhry. Beta, what's going on, Natish? Good to see you. Thanks for clipping me. If you guys haven't subscribed to Almost High's channel, I would recommend doing it. She's doing some Ducks Y clips, but she's also doing some of her own content. And so let me see if I can. What is it called? I know that's not your like actual. Hell yeah. Man, I love looking at myself. I love seeing myself with 5 likes. That's absolutely dope. Yeah, this is called being fruitful and multiplying or something, I think, though, right? I don't know how to make sure you don't have to. You can tag me. You should be allowed to, but if you guys want to go sub to Almost High, if you guys are here, Almost High's a mod. She's helped out a ton on the channel. And she's doing some of her own content and stuff now too. And so yeah, if you want to go sub to her, yeah, please do so. Yeah, please do so. Yeah. But yeah, you can usually just say at and then yeah, if you put at in the description, then you basically finish the clip, right? You can finish the clip when you post it. It will go to my notifications, and then it'll also be in the YouTube algorithm that way. Yeah, it'll be in the YouTube algorithm like that. So yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Yeah, Goodwill. See, I got like, I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys this. I got like this 1970s style cell phone stand, and I don't want to get my whole room because it's very messy, but there's the base of the cell phone stand. There's the Goodwill tag, but yeah. So that is, but yeah, I'm putting my laptop on it just like that. I could have just flipped the camera around, but so and then I've got chat there, but yeah, this was my $6 home, my new $6 home studio setup. So I'm hoping the cell phone holder, I'm trying to be gentle with it so it doesn't break, but it's a little taller and stuff like that. Yeah, it's got this big base. They had one of the selfie sticks with the pop out stands, so I almost got one of those, but it was $1 more expensive, so I ended up just getting the. Yeah, it's not much, but it's actually a lot, right? You know, the $70, no house tour, no IRL stuff, you know. Who knows? Maybe next time I get paid on YouTube, I can go do a live stream from the mall or something like that. I don't know. Hey, que Hondas, David, what's going on, brother? How are you? Did you guys hear? So that David Popstar guy, the guy that was accused of being in an intimate relationship, and then hurting this, and then murdering this like underage girl or whatever it was. There was a Google employee who saw the search trends. He had access to the search analytics, and he used it to bet on Polymarket and made $1 million that David would be the most searched person in 2025. And he just got arrested for fraud. Yeah, he just got arrested for fraud. Hey, can you not hide yeah, don't. Gavin didn't do anything. I don't know why you hid Gavin. Gavin is he's good faith and he's a channel VIP. So, but mostly he didn't do anything wrong. So let me put him back on. He wasn't sarcastic. I don't think he was sarcastically laughing. Yeah. Thank you though. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Gavin, if you're blocked, you'll be unblocked right now. So sorry. But yeah, wait, fraud was the charge. What about murder? No, not for David, right? This was a Google employee. There was a Google employee that he looked up the data for this David guy and then bet on Polymarket on it. Yeah, he bet on Polymarket on it. So yeah. But yeah. Chris, I have more of the books back up. I don't have to use books for our cell phone stand anymore. So I like how it looks. It looks kind of unky and old school, but yeah, it is. I like it. I don't mind it. I think it looks all right. And I can still get like, for like power hour or whatever, I can get like right up here and whatever BS stupid stuff. I don't know. I was excited. I was excited about it. Yeah. Yar. Yeah, thanks, Gavin. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Did you see Maduro capture was on another Polymarket also? That's so weird. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't see why we should have betting on elections. It's I don't like regulating freedom, but to me it's like morally gross. It's morally gross to place bets on elections and stuff like that too. It's very weird. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, speculation, also when I worked at Vanguard, like day traders, and then the point of like EFTs or ETFs, like exchange traded funds, is like they can also balance the market. They can make sense of intraday information. They can act more quickly on like real information that comes out. And so it's not like a black or white issue where it is all bad or all good, right? If it's, but just where yeah, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's weird to think that someone as dishonest as Trump could be this close to like market betting on political stuff too, but I know that's just like speculative. I know it's just like speculative or whatever. Um, you know, whatever. Whatevers. Maybe the same person that already knows the outcome or agenda that they can change the course of someone's politics, maybe domestic or foreign. All they bet on the assumption they had national security info. Yeah. Hey, there's the thinking, right? There's the stinking thinking. There's the stinking thinking, right? It's very stupid. Yeah, I mean it's really weird. This is something that I think both Andrew Bustamante as well as John Kiriakou have complained about. Was that, well, if you're CIA, if you have a very small group of actual trustworthy people, if you assemble a really great team overall, but then the people who you like really truly trust is actually fairly small, and then it just balloons out from there, and then you have, your network ends up being whoever's influential or powerful or who has access that you also have access to. Then you know like it's weird to think that like national security is, in some sense, it's never been a moral endeavor. But I mean, that gives me personally, I mean, not that it matters, but it gives me a lot of anxiety, right? Thinking that like, well, the entire point of the system or the structure that you have is, it's therefore it's, you get back to like the for me, like my first sort of thing is like, I get back to that ancient Roman thinking of, it's like, well, have you, if you and I are going out and doing something together, have we both cut ourselves, right? Have we taken that blood bond where we've both damaged ourselves in order to do this thing? Is it the case that we've both shown that we're committed to it? And then other than that, it's like, well, who would you trust or believe in? But yeah, that's right. Someone brought the internet up earlier. Do you think the internet is more helpful or harmful to society? Um, um, I mean, the internet's obviously very helpful. The internet's very helpful. I think if you can store data and information that represents a mind, it represents a mind that is about the efficiencies and sort of pro-social aspects of society, then you can use the internet for that. So the fact that there's bad actors on the internet, the fact that there's whether it's wastefulness or like, a lack of virtues or something like this, then like both those, but I think it would be hard to construe that communication and eliminating arbitrary distinctions between people would be a bad thing. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how it would be a bad thing necessarily. Yeah. Hey, see ya, Myra. Myra, have a good night. Mayara. Yeah, cool. Is betting on national security secrets something anti-patriot or patriotic? Do a kickflip in those Nikes? Yeah, Nigel. What's his name? like Nigel Houston, Nia Houston. What's his name? He's gonna bug me in him. Nija Houston. That dude is nuts. Guy's crazy. He's one of the highest paid skateboarders in the world. Yeah, this Nija Houston guy, he's won $4 million just in contests. That's crazy. $4 million just competing. Yeah. Crazies, wilds. Meaning of life. The meaning of life is to, someone could say it's meaningful to create worlds that meet each other and then disappear. And I don't think in a world which has energy, a world which can exist and needs to destroy itself, if it still has a purpose or a reason for being. And so to create it's to create a world that is to create a world that is loving, that is empty of itself, but still relates to something. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Love the energy you're putting on, bro. Hell yeah. Yeah, we'll do the hog reveal at 100,000 subs when I got the silver play button behind me. Yeah, at 100,000 subs. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good answer too. 42. Yeah, the meaning of life is also watching Lone Survivor in 13 hours, is watching old American war movies with good guys and bad guys. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Deadlifts, weighted vests, and a low calorie vegan diet. Yeah. Yeah. Are you British? Are you British or are you Bengali? You have attitude. I'm sensing a Korean or Bengali attitude. Not that I need to know, but that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting out of this. I'm sensing someone in Delhi. I'm sensing someone in Delhi or Mumbai raised on the internet. Are those your space shoes? No, I don't have this the foam. Yeah, the space foam posits would be cool. I grew up watching players in the NBA wear those old KG foam posit style shoes. I love Kevin Garnett. I love Kevin Garnett. He was fun to watch. Yeah. No, those are my my non-vegan vegan shoes. They're vegan shoes because I own them, but they're not vegan either. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, see ya. Have a good night, Gavin. Take care. Yeah. Criticism should be critical. At least it's an then it's attacked. Yeah. Yeah. This is one of the problems with identity politics too. One of my complaints, right? I'm complaining tonight. Yes, I'm full of complaints. Let me put on my blue glasses. One of the problems with identity politics is that it like to say that a conversation does have it is more efficiently had when we can check our biases or our starting assumptions and worldview. And so it's just interesting because someone can offer a very critical heterodox critique, right? Heterodox, all I mean is that it falls into the norms we accept, right? So it would sound like saying, Donald Trump and Tulsi Gabbard have risked national security for politics, right? That's very heterodox. Or that the Democrats didn't do enough intervening in world affairs for national security purposes, right? Very heterodox debate, very heterodox discussion. And who's to say, right? In the normal sense, when people are admitting their biases, that's fine. But this is also why, it used to be the case Oxford style debates or like Nightline News, when you had a big advertised debate between news personalities or politicians, social commentators, you would say, well, it is part of the discussion up front that we are discussing identity and bias and things like this, right? Should be benign. Um, hey, what's going on, Joe? Yeah, everything decays, everything falls apart, everything everything we can lose and stuff like this. But yeah, hey Rush, I'm gonna tag you back in one more time, but it appears someone has not taken a shine to the sort of insult style, comic the insult dog style. Hang around for a little bit and maybe we'll get used to it and stuff like this. But yeah, that criticism should be benign. Yeah, not everything is political. Not everything is political. Not everything is towards something. Not everything is a war. Things fall apart. Things fall apart. Chenua Chebe. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Beautiful book. Cool. Yeah. Um, yeah. Cool. And every day I've made to feel that I should be my whole identity, but there's a lot more to me. Yeah. I mean, and that's really annoying because gender is the part I can understand or recognize is gender is one of the outward identities that people recognize in a society. And so for someone to be like, for it to be kind of weird to say someone is obviously a woman, obviously a man, or obviously trans, obviously gay, obviously black, obviously white, right? That's it's already, I mean, it's like I can appreciate that side of that experience. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the fact that it's either the case, one of the parts, I'm an atheist and I agree with a lot of atheist YouTubers and stuff, but to say that, well, we have everything in common, or you have to have everything in common here, then like to me that's very frustrating. It's like, well, I didn't fly off the deep end on all that stuff. You're Native American, cool. Yeah, shout out to you. You love old radios, cool. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, guys, so we're not allowed to be racist or anything like that on the channel. I just want to be clear. None of that stuff. And that's it. Okay. And you love Jesus? Cool. A homogenous world is a weak one. Do I think mental illnesses are social distress responses? No. It's very strange to say that um, mental illness supervenes on society. I think it's, who knows, it's maybe the data or stimuli, but to say that mental illness isn't like genetic, I think is the most likely explanation for what we define as mental illnesses. And that remains true, right? This is how like a theory would a genetic theory of mental illness would be interpreted, is that you can change or strengthen or weaken the stimuli that leads to some response in being symptomatic, or the actual disease, right? There's actually a measurable, like an MRI change in how the brain's operating, but that would still be genetic, right? That would still then be explained by genes ultimately, right? If you don't have the genes in place, none of those things make sense, right? Those things, you can have the same exact situation and those things would not be producing anything differently. Um, so, but to say that there's collective madnesses, irrationality, who knows? Maybe like that could also just be psychology. That could be how behavioral games are played by humans. Organization on the level of social systems can be like or described as sometimes having characteristics of mental illness. Um, you know, an example would be the fact that right, there's these violent white nationalist separatists in the United States who take over Washington, right? To me, it seems like it's not judgmental, but it is what it is to say that, well, this is illegality and this is a small factional revolutionary like militia group, right? It's like a cult. Um, right, and so I don't know how I would square mental illness with social forces in my own head, but I don't know enough either, right? I'm not a doctor, so maybe you have your own theory. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the crazy part is humans have tried for centuries to explain madness, explain meaning, explain philosophy, explain love, explain religion, and a person or people can explore these topics ad infinitum and not reach another conclusion. Why is that? Why is that? Well, it's because a lot of this does come down to genetics and metabolism, right? Just what's going on in your life, right? What is going on in your life? Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know why it would have to be objective, right? Not everything has to be rational or explained in a linear way. Um, you know, And this is another crazy thing. So one of my old acquaintances in the streaming world, she was really cool. Her name's Enemy Charlie. She's still streaming sometimes, I think, not as much, but she was a scholar and she studied the treatment of trans people in the Middle Ages, right? There's like murder poetry. There's like murder and torture poetry about gay and trans people in the Middle Ages, right? So there's not a new phenomenon just because of the internet of either you want to say gender dysphoria, or a non-binary, whatever they call polymorphs or whatever the fuck it is, whatever the science stuff. But to say, and I'm not discounting the science, but the history argument does it brings to light it brings to light that there's, we may think that, well, the internet, when people say something like the internet is transing the trans or something very, very, very bigoted, unresearched, and usually backed by hatred. The other side of this is that this is also skipping explanations for how people feel and then actually what physiologically and neurophysically may be going on, right? It skips the fact that whatever the issue is that, you don't see the internet and data producing these sort of weird changes. And so saying that there's not a historical precedent for all the gay people or all the trans people, this is old forms of bigotry that doesn't exist in the world. Hell yeah. Let me preach down here. Let me be the loser on YouTube preaching a little bit. Epigenetics are undoubtedly real. Yeah. Epigenetics offer the best explanation, some of the strongest explanations for mental disorders. The Department of Defense has done. I remember I looked at PTSD research a while ago. DARPA, which is the US's like top secret science national security research arm. So they can just give buckets of money to scientists historically. What's going on, Aaron? But yeah, they've done really good research on PTSD because they say, why is it the case that, sometimes G.I. Joe and Super Soldier comes back and they were in the Battle of Ramadi or something, or, these guys literally watched their people burn alive and they got their little Bronze Star, and they, this person's a killer, right? This guy, he's got 10 kills on his record and he was in battle, right? He was in battle, but some of these guys come back and they're fine, right? They seem fine. And then other people come back and they're not, right? Other people come back and you saw combat and you're not okay. And yeah, they've asked why this is. And it's like, yeah, well, a lot of this has to do with genetics and then epigenetics, right? The trauma and stimuli of being in war triggers some people, right? So there's a genetic basis for that stuff. Wait, what is bigotry, Duck? I have no idea. Bigotry is, wouldn't it be assumptions or something about differences based on perceived differences of groups? How do you accurately answer that? Yeah, either subjective group differences, hatred, or otherizing based on subjective group differences, or actual measurable group differences. Something like that, right? So seeing something like in Nigeria, in rural areas where there's Muslims, there is non-state terror activity, or in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood was active. And yet, this isn't explained by Islam because you have plenty of other Islamic places in the world that don't have these characteristics or traits. So bigotry would be like hating people for that reason, or disliking people. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not telling you to love or hate trans people, right? I'm not telling you, but to say that there's to say that that identity, like a trans identity or someone who identifies as trans, or anything identifies as black or white or man or woman, and for that reason you judge them or treat them differently, and there's no explanation for it, right? That would be bigotry or irrationality or a bias. Back when being gay was illegal and there were less gays, it drives me nuts when people say that this is a new thing. Yeah. I mean, that is like the basis of a personal opinion, or could be an inference, again, that these things are historical too, right? You know, the argument that racism doesn't exist today. Ben Shapiro is the person who I think is most famous for this line of argumentation in the internet. Ben Shapiro says and has said, that racism doesn't exist today. And you can explain everything using economics, or you can explain everything using values, but there's always some explanation as to why there's group-based differences in the United States. This seems to undermine that not every explanation historically goes back down to these same forces that you say caused this today. Right? Not every explanation goes down. And this is obvious because in 1776, you have the 3/5 clause. After this, you have the cotton gin driving demand for slavery, right? So the invention of industrial technology in the industrial era during the Industrial Revolution drives demand to own people, right? So there's a huge difference to say that, well, just because good social science, good social theory and social science explains things using economic modalities and socio-political modalities, and so if you don't see a law, what are you actually talking about? And we should be skeptical when we see this. This isn't the same thing as saying that explaining racism or racism in either sense can be explained away. I think those are different things. Yeah. Yeah. Comparing notes, I'm not the owner of the truth. Yeah, I mean, and that's a better faith, that's a good faith interlocutor, right? In the world where everybody creates content, everybody speaks with confidence and certainty when they speak. People are egotistical and willing to talk through things on the internet. These are all like the same stupid fucking worlds where, like a lot of the same people won't admit when they can be wrong, right? It's this guy Travis, my friend Travis on the internet, Travis Pangburn, calls it fallibilism. Fallibilism is a very famous word in philosophy. We used to talk about skepticism, like people like Michael Schumer. Michael Schumer, I believe, Chris Hitchens talked about being skeptical of things, skepticism, thinking about why arguments fail instead of assuming they're right because they concur with us or they agree with us at this time. You're a librarian at heart. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to have to, with all of Almost High's $2 super chats, I'm going to have to, when I get a bookshelf, I'm going to have an Almost High library for all the Penguin Classic books I pick up. I mean, yeah, and I would just mention that, the fact that I start with the direction or something doesn't mean that I'm right, or that I'm like creating a position that I deeply believe in and sincerely believe in either, right? Those could all be very different things. So what does it mean to veer off course? I mean, if somebody all completely, totally believes something, that's very different than saying, you're allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to talk through things. You're allowed to say things and not be penalized or punished for saying it, when you're not saying it authoritatively. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to digress. I'm not trying to split yet, Why would I be splitting? I mean, yeah, not saying I agree with myself, but I don't disagree. Dustin Hoffman, yeah, fine actor. Dustin Hoffman, wasn't he? Yeah, Dustin Hoffman. There's Donald Hoffman. Donald Hoffman. He is a neuroscientist. Isn't he's a Donald Hoffman, and Dustin Hoffman is the actor. Yeah, very handsome man. Richard Gere. Have you seen Pretty Woman? If you haven't seen Pretty Woman, that's a great film. I'm just saying, some people say forget about it, right? Forget about it. Hell yeah. Hey, I don't want to be the victim. I'm just saying. I don't want to be the victim here. But I'll play the victim. I'll play it. Don't say I won't. Hell yeah. Yeah. But opinions should also be meaningful, right? I mean, I agree, but an opinion or a belief should be something that's researched. Opinions used to not just be how you feel something off the cuff. I learned in high school and college, an opinion was something that you researched. It's pointed at, it is what is pointed at something. If most of a conversation is not, the opinion is what is pointed towards a conclusion or a direction, however someone squares that. And it doesn't really matter your own preference. That's just what the opinion is. But the opinion is still well researched. It's studied. It has references. You could, in some theory, appeal to an expert to advise where you're right or wrong. Otherwise, it's not an opinion. And so saying something like, Charlie Kirk says we shouldn't celebrate Martin Luther King Day, right? This isn't an opinion to me. It's not a good opinion, because what expert would you appeal to talk about Martin Luther King Day or the contribution to Martin Luther King Jr.? Well, the fact is that if you were to talk to experts who were historians or social theorists, they would say, well, Martin Luther King's impact was pretty large and significant, right? And so the fact that it isn't edgy or controversial or like sex sells, if it bleeds, it leads, none of these are reasons why that opinion is good. There is no opinion. There is nothing to be good in that opinion. No, this is like politics, philosophy, religion, spirituality, something like that. No, real life ducks. Hopefully, real life ducks. Yeah, I love animals, right? I think animals are more holy than the Holy Bible, the Quran, Surah, Torah, all those books put together. I love animals. Yeah, I love animals. Animals are very cool. Animals are very sick. So there are ducks. There are no ducks. There are no ducks. No ducks. Animals live in nature, right? So animals, the majority of animals' experience that they have is exactly where our experience came from, right? And so to think that animals don't even think in terms of having, like, to think that animals can experience life that a human would say is being treated unjustly, and animals have the same physiology as us in most ways. Most animals are almost identically similar to humans, and they don't feel wronged. They don't feel like there's an injustice. They're not a victim for living where they are, you know? And so instead of saying, well, at the end of their lives, and many animals get injured or bleed or are attacked, I would posture it and say, well, the majority of information about animals comes from these scenarios that are also more relevant to us. It's very interesting. You have a duck. Oh, cool. It was born with one wonky leg. Are you a Buddhist? I guess it's pretty common. Yeah. I mean, duck joints. I mean, I hope ducks are all healthy and strong. But yeah, who knows? A lot of ducks evolved to live in the water, and some don't, some do. Some ducks travel thousands of miles. So, hey, what's going on, Barbie? They say, Rush, you shouldn't have opinions on things you're not informed about. That's the problem. People speaking without researching. It's okay to just be quiet. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and people are allowed to have opinions. We're allowed to emote. We're allowed to support our worldview and support our opinion at the end, right? At the end, right? Um, it is okay to be quiet, and it's okay to share opinions and stuff as well. Both these things, right? I'm not trying to like translate or get in the middle of a great fight in chat. You guys want to fight in chat? There's a great fight to be had. Hey, have at it, guys. Have at it, everyone. Hey, thanks, Chris. Yeah, hit like, subscribe, guys. If you guys want to go watch my last short has movie clips in it. I'm not going to make another crappy short like that again, hopefully. But if you guys like it, then you like it. Cool. And then I've got some other good shorts, little AI clips, informative. And yeah, I'm trying to do a lot more. So if you guys want to do if you guys see a short and you want to watch some of it, or you don't have to, like, I'm not going to ask for feedback, but if you like it, comment, anything like that, cool. That's awesome. Video games are your favorite hobby? Cool. Hell yeah. Games are fun. Yeah. Yeah, I was watching some Halo today. I was watching a speedrunner. Was it Garish Goblin is one. I forgot the guy I was watching today. There's another one. He's very Sloth. So I watched Garish Goblin and Sloth are two Halo speedrunners. And then I watched Tylenol and Nated for a competitive gameplay. But this is like old person stuff, right? I watched like Halo 3, Halo 1, Halo 2. And then I was watching on Ogre 1 too. Yeah, I was watching Ogre 1 and the Ogre Twins. That was a crazy one. Yeah, that was cool. That was a crazy one. My son's name is Reason. Do you know him? I would not. Yes. Sneakers are cheap decor, and I just got the chance to I just told a story, Eduardo. I just got another camera holder, and so I had sneakers around, and these were pictures from my garage. So when I was ready to set up an actual studio, this is the studio that I set up. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to do debates. I would like to do debates that are not blood sport debates. I think there's a lot of channels, like MDD would be one that would be fun to debate on at some point in time. I think I have a big enough like subscriber base, even though I don't know them. I've talked a lot of shit there too. But yeah, like modern day debates would be cool. One day doing a Raging Tomato debate would be cool. my buddy, one of our mods here, Taco, he's got a channel called Mega Bloodbaths and stuff. And so yeah. But yeah, I've done a God of the Gaps debate. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the God of the Gaps argument. So I did one formal God of the Gaps debate. And yeah. Hard to swallow pills. Yeah. This isn't an apologetics channel too. So like, yeah, we're welcome to talk about religion and spirituality, but it's not meant to be like your testimony shouldn't be first, right? So just the fact that people are chatting, and so I mean it's like, yeah, it's absolutely right. Like people don't want to. You're not here to be preached at. It's not what we do here. So like, I don't know, like it's also very strange. It's also like it is a little bit of an odd, Like if you were getting coffee with a friend and the first thing they said to you was Jesus died for your sins, that'd be very strange. Hey, what's going on, Adam? Yeah, great to see you. Yeah. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, there was a really interesting one I watched. The most interesting debate I've watched in the last like 6 months. My buddy, my friend hosted this guy who was a deist, and he was a nuclear engineer, right? So very smart guy, like probably, whatever. You could say genius IQ if you're just telling him, but yeah, he was an actual nuclear scientist, a deist, and he debated someone on the validity of religion or naturalism or theism, deism, something like this. So this is very well informed. Hey, thank you. Yeah, your shoulders are tight. I appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. Yeah, very weird. Bring it home. Bring it home there, buddy. You started it, Adam, so bring it home there, buddy. Bring it home. You want to see that side of things? Hey there, pal. Yeah, ain't nobody said nothing. We're talking about the world, pal. I'm just kidding. In fairness to Christians, if you thought you knew the path to eternal life, you would be morally obligated to spread the word. Right. Right. Yeah, and I do think that deists and theists who go about either apologetics or their own faith and testimony in a responsible, considered way also can appreciate that from other people's perspectives. You saying that I know how to make $1 million sounds like a scam to other people. Saying that I know how to make $1 trillion sounds like a scam to other people. And so even with having this path to salvation that is very meaningful to some people, they can see that, like, yeah, a financial advisor doesn't go around promising people to make $1 million. And so there's still respectfulness in that. Yeah. You are slightly older twin. Carpo 719. Cool. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, in philosophy, they might ask if I offer an opinion. Like if I say that Neapolitan pizza is the best because it's the oldest, it is the closest to original pizza that has both survived and become this massive thing, right? You can go get brick-fired Neapolitan pizza all around the US and all around the world. And it's this thin, fluffy crust, really delicious, tasty bready dough. And you can put less cheese, you can put fresh vegetables on it, and it's still that good. So that's my opinion about Neapolitan pizza. We could say that some of this stuff is inductive, or it doesn't it's subjective in some sense, but some of this stuff does appeal to induction or deduction, right? You can tell this stuff is either true or not, it's empirical or not, right? And so you can still have an evidence-based opinion, right? You can still have an evidence-based in some evidences of it, even if you see that there being a lot of Neapolitan pizza could also be taken analogously as well. There's a lot of Ford F-350s driven by people who just wanted big trucks, and it would be difficult to say that that's a moral good, right? The fact that you have a choice isn't about the truck, and so, I mean, a truck just creates a lot of weight. It's a very wasteful decision in the world. It's a little wasteful. I'm going to check on the poll. So 67% said Charlie Kirk said you two can be white. And he said, no, you can't write laws to unwhite whitey. And 9% said that Charlie Kirk said, they say, hey, whitey, and we say amen. Yeah, they say, hey, whitey, and we say amen. Yeah. Most people who get trucks could easily get minivans instead. Put the seats down, and you can almost haul almost as much stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I had a little Tacoma back in the day, and it was moving day duty truck, moving day duty truck, moving duties. All right, see ya. Have a good one, Mr. Rush. Mr. Rush Robinson. Take care. Enjoy the stand and deliver timeline in your teaching career or whatever it is that you're working on. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Give me a van with 4x4 locking differential and I'm in. Cool. Yeah, you're going to do one of those big hill climbs, something like that. Hell yeah. That's cool. Those are really cool. I used to love the rock crawlers. People would, widen the axles on some of them, and you'd get these big spring lift kits, and everything would be reinforced, and you'd have independent lockers on all the wheels so you didn't get stuck. You'd have these big ass tires that you would just inflate to the right amount for the shit you're doing and whatever. And, big wench on the front. Hell yeah. That's some redneck stuff. All right, guys. I think I'm going to tune out for the night. Mods, thank you guys. Mods, thank you guys. Appreciate it so much. Thank you. If I still have it here, if anyone wants to go sub to Almost High, just like videos when stuff comes up. Yeah, and stuff like that. Cool. And yeah, have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Hey, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I learn more from talking to you guys than I do anywhere else. So I appreciate you guys a lot. Hopefully it is mutually beneficial and stuff like that. And yeah, appreciate it. Take care. Thank you.